We are happy to announce that this episode of the SW Show is partially brought to you by Humble Bundle. Well, not really. We are part of the Humble Bundle referral program, and we just wanted to say that if you like really cheap games and maybe helping charity pending the Humble thing going on, all you have to do is go to humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. That's right, humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. And you just do your normal stuff, and it just kind of helps us get a couple bucks here and there. Maybe it helps AJ get his lights, maybe it's Mike camera, maybe we actually pay Corey for helping us out. But again, if you're going to go buy games anyway, it might be worth checking out.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Movie Club episode where we review Dune Part 2. Or as the movie poster that we're looking at, it has a Do Part 2.
So, yes, so we are here to talk about Dune Part 2, which I'm just going to clarify for the record. We did not watch the first one together. You cannot convince me that was true.
I'm pretty sure we did. We didn't do it for Movie Club, but I'm fairly certain we did.
I like how I haven't yet to look into my HBO Max history, and that would answer the question. Like, I check dates.
I don't know. Since we would have watched it through Seen Her, I don't know how that would interact with your...
Oh, watch history.
Watch history.
Right.
I mean, it should be fine. But yeah, I don't know.
That's a fair bit. We're here to talk about Dune Part 2. So, I'm trying to think...
Well, no, it would only be on my watch history, I think, right?
But I don't like my account. Remember, it made us both have accounts.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to sign in through your HBO account, but it only ran my library. Right,
because you had the control.
Yeah, so I think it would only show up on my watch history, but yeah.
Anyway. Very possible. Okay, Dune Part 2. Trying to think where to start. I'm going to start with the text I sent you, which is, I'm going to be honest, this might be one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen. Like, I don't even know...
I mean, Denis Villeneuve has quickly transformed himself into the top sci-fi director of the past 10 years. Between
like,
this, the first
him and
one,
Nolan, right? Or like our two sci-fi, like...
Yeah, between this, the first one, and then Blade Runner, right? Like...
And, like, I know you don't love it, but, like, we both know Arrival is a widely recognized film, too.
Yeah, but that's out of the decade time span.
That's fair. No, Arrival's 2016. It'd be within a decade.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was 2013.
No, 2013 is Enemy and Prisoners. So yeah, no, but either way, like...
4 movies.
Right, okay. When you last... Like, he's a director that I feel like you could go and, like... He's the one you just look at that snippet, looking back, and you'd be like, how? Because remember, if you do 5, it's Sicario mixed in. Because Sicario was 2015. That's within the last decade also.
Yeah.
Like, also...
Has anybody had a better decade?
Director or actor? I can think of actors that might have. I don't know if I can think of a director.
Yeah, I mean,
actually...
We're talking about a director, so we're not going to talk about actors.
I bet you we could pull a better Nolan decade. Okay. We will start this correctly in a second, but okay, Nolan, I'm gonna give it to you. Okay. Here's Christopher Nolan. 1 decade. Insomnia. Batman Begins. Prestige. Dark Knight. Inception. Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises kind of takes it down a little bit.
Okay. Minus that, I still 5.
And Batman Begins also isn't that great.
That's fair. Okay, so then here's like, Nolan's last 4 films.
His Batman trilogy is definitely held up. Yeah, it's held up by Dark Knight. Like,
yeah, no, I actually do like Batman Begins a lot, but I do think Dark Knight's a very different level.
I think people look back on Begins with rose-tinted glasses, going, "This is the guy that made Dark Knight, so Batman Begins must be good." And you look back and it's like, it's got stretches where it's all right, but it's, you can definitely see the workings of what would become. But
No, that is true. But yeah, we're doing part two. But yeah, the big thing, like, I think, immediately impressed by both how dense this film was, but how much I feel like they explained everything they needed to, or they left the audience with like, I don't think, was there any spot in this film for being this dense that you were like, I have no clue what's going on?
um,
And I don't mean the spots they might be confused. I mean like they explain and you're like, I still don't know what the hell is, or they didn't explain a thing, or
yeah, with Austin Butler's character,
okay.
when you're first introduced to him,
The
and it's
fight.
like, yeah, it's like, okay, so I get it. You were trying to. Was Lord Harkonnen trying to kill him?
I don't think so. So I read that as it was Lord Harkonnen basically risking his life. So there's a level of risk thrown in there to basically prove to everyone that he was a fighter and not just the nephew. Because that's what it read like to me, was that like otherwise everyone just viewed him as, sure, we respect you because you're who you are and not because we actually respect you as like a fighter. Or we don't find you threatening. We find you threatening because you're a leader.
Yeah. Also, I find it interesting that the one that they didn't drug was the doctor, who in the first one proved himself in hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, no, that is very good. I do like how that was a good like how they're like the final three members and you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Also, since
But
we're talking about that, come on, a full like 11 or 12-minute sequence shot fully on infrared cameras.
right?
Like, I know Denis has a thing for using unique cameras. I mean, Sicario, he used both night vision and thermal. This is like,
So
this
I
is
want
a
to
whole new
put that
step.
John honestly was to me one of the like coolest scenes, like look wise.
Yeah, as like I had heard rumblings about, oh, they shot a whole scene in infrared, and like that's gonna look amazing.
And it did.
And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's a thing where like Paul's wearing goggles or something like that, but then to have the Harkonnen's home planet be where that was.
And not only that, it's still like it's I think the coolest shot was when you had all of the Bene Gesserit like show up and they just turn black and white, like as you see them walk into like as they walk into the light.
Yeah,
Like it was just really cool of like, oh, it like evaporates color.
yeah. And anytime you saw Lord Harkonnen, you could see like, okay, it's not really a real camera because you could see kind of on the edges where the infrared was reading temperatures a little weird.
Mm-mm.
So I was like, okay, it's not like a fully clear image, but it looks cool as hell.
I gotta ask, how much of a fat suit was he in?
Stellan?
Yeah.
I watched his Vanity Fair like going through his career.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was in the suit for 2 weeks and he didn't drink and he took iodine pills so he didn't have to piss or shit for 2 weeks. So I think it was not comfortable. He said it was 8 hours to get into the fat suit.
Because like I obviously recognize his face, but like
Yeah.
the rest of that is like Jesus. There's no way he put on that weight.
Yeah.
But he was great. Like also the other one that I think needs to be shouted out. This is objectively, I think, Batista's best role. Like I think he was impressive as can be, and I think like obviously he's a lot of screen parts, but he's very good at that. But I think he's like I think he's found like his range, and also Danny Villeneuve apparently is just the director he should work with. Is what we figured out.
Yeah.
But I think also
I
the
mean,
other one
it
is
was the perfect role for him, right? Like,
Yeah, no, this is like a role made for him, but I think he shines because it's a role made for him. Because otherwise, like, legitimately, I don't like I don't know who else I could think of like in that type of role
Um,
that would have done it.
the the guy that played uh, Ivan's son in the Creed movies.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Just some big yoked motherfucker. The guy that's playing
But you need some big yo.
the psycho in Borderlands. Like,
That's fair.
maybe that wouldn't work because he would be too tall. And I think the design language is always that Lord Harkonnen is the tallest.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, yes, he's using the anti-grav system to achieve
As I said,
that.
he's literally being held up via like this mechanical.
Also, the artificial lung fits the
Yeah.
Harkonnen design so well. Um,
So I asked
which,
the other one
yeah,
too.
dude,
So
the Harkonnen designs for everything were just
it was
great
beautiful.
because
Like
it was like over the spice harvesters being so big compared to the Atreides ones, which were the old
the other one I was going to the
harvesters.
harkening when they're flying up. That was such a cool like scene. Like that was one of the scenes that like made most gasp of like they're just flying up and you're like, oh, you don't mess with these.
Oh, their anti-grav suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I wish they explained that a little bit more because in the first one, it's just like a fall negation system.
Mm.
So it's like they're not true anti-grav systems. It's just it slows their fall. And then suddenly they're like flying around. Now granted, it's like a spacewalk flying, it's they have to push off and then they kind of float. Um so yeah, I wish there was a way to explain the technology behind the houses. But
Like the
then
only
thinking about it,
I
like how do you,
yeah, how do you?
you would have had to do it in the first one. And how do you keep these movies feeling the way they do
And explain
while
everything.
also lore dumping like, oh, the Harkonnens can like levitate kind of. Or
I
they've
don't
at
know
least
how
figured
you
out gravity.
because like there's so much you have to explain. Like I also think part of this film thrives because it doesn't explain. So a perfect example is like the box. Like we understand the box conceptually, but there's no one sitting there and explaining the technology, and it's like we don't need to because like we fundamentally get it too.
I
Of
wanted to
like you're dealing with
see
these like, but you don't like these witches. Like it's such an easy like they're witch like basically witches. They're messing with you. Go for it.
I so wanted to see the let me pull up his character's name. Fade Routha's box scene because somebody that is so psychotic,
Mhm.
like that's the whole point of the box is like to face your fear and figure
But
out who
like that
you
was the
really
thing.
are.
You made a comment about like to him he just thrived with it or what? Like it was like yeah he's a masochist. I think they said.
And he's driven by sexual favors, I think is what Florence Pugh's
Because
character
she's
says.
pregnant at the end of it. It's because he impregnates
Yeah,
the
he
lady
impregnates
Margot.
Florence. No.
No, it's like Margot. It's not Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh didn't go down. Go down. It was Lady Margot. Lady Margot is the one who went down and see him and did the boxing. That's why Florence Pugh gets sent to do that.
Oh, that's right, because she's the. Uh,
Florence Pugh is the daughter of the Emperor.
yeah, I know. But I swear it was her.
No, no, it was not.
I'm getting my blonde actresses mixed up.
It was Leah Sado, I think's her name.
Leia Sado, yeah.
Yeah, she was the Bond girl in like Spectre and Skyfall. Oh, Spectre in No Time.
Yeah, she
And
was
she was
in
in Voice
Sky.
Bastards.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
very shortly. Well, yeah, very shortly in Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, yeah.
Blue is the warmest color. She's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just the ability that they're like, it's a girl to keep the bloodline, and I'm like, I get that it's the year 10,000,
Mm-hmm.
but just having in there that like the Bene Gesserit can
Can do that.
just like genetically modify their
No, and you have to process.
ovaries
They're
to
not
produce.
modifying. No, 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 no. They're not. They'd be modifying the guy.
Well, no, they're genetically modifying their eggs to only produce women. Or it's a hormonal thing. However they're doing it, right? Like
Yeah, it's horrible.
It-
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I think we agree
clearly
it's horrible. It's,
like
it's a
just
power. It's an insane power.
it's quote unquote magic.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I do find it odd that in a world like Dune where technology really doesn't exist.
Interesting. Like technology exists, but it doesn't. It's very limited.
Like-
but like they're space bearing, but it's very like
Yeah, the Fremens have
pieced
laser
together.
weapons. But then it's like everyone's fighting hand to hand with swords, but then there's these physics shields, but then there's magic women that rule the world that can decide whether or not they're gonna have a girl.
And I guess I'm still intrigued by the physics shield about the like you could slowly put a blade through. Like there's a lot
It's an
questions,
inertia
I guess.
shield is actually what it is. So it's like
of okay.
if you slow it down, you
The
can
pushback
puncture
would be
it,
less. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's like inverse to the inertia that's hitting it. So it's why
That makes
like
sense.
um
A bullet goes stops, but like a
well
slow blade wouldn't.
it's like the scene from the first one where Jason Momoa is like taking shots from swords and they're just like bouncing off. But it was only when somebody was wrestling him down that they could kill him. You know, it was only when the fly slowed down that it could vibrate its way, excuse me, through the inertia shield. You know, it's why, like when you see the, there's a couple times during the big battle where it's like, it's clear that the Fremen have figured this out, so it's why they switched to hand-to-hand
Right.
jujitsu based combat. Because it's like you can still interact with the shield. It's not like it's a force field.
Right, you can still move it and touch it.
So you can
stand.
grab
Okay.
that and potentially get through there. But yeah. Yeah, it's like it's odd, right? It's very steampunk's not the right word because they're spacefaring, so it'd be like space punk.
Yeah, I don't know a better term than space punk. Which, to be if we're being objective, it's probably Dune invented the style, and everyone's been aping it.
Well, NASA invented space punk, but yeah.
Yeah, but like it's kind of like how the amount of people who have been having Star Wars realizations over the last week or two is pretty funny.
Yeah.
'Cause,
I
like,
mean, the
it's
people
not one
that
to
are
one, but there
figuring
is
out,
parallels.
yeah, the people that are figuring out that Dune is actually just a like telling of Christianity is
Well,
way
it's
too
Christianity
high.
meets Judaism meets Islam. Like it's a mixture of the big
It's-
three monotheistics.
It's way too
'Cause, like,
high.
it's
Of people
very-
figuring that out. Like,
This is like this is the first time that like I think a lot of people have heard of Dune, I feel like for a lot of people, this was exposure to what Dune is.
And I guess since the first two movies are just the first book, the first book
Hmm.
doesn't get too off the rails with the religious aspect of it. But by the end of it, like Paul Atreides is basically Jesus.
Okay, he's already. What do you mean?
Well, no, in
This
in the
okay,
sense of like, so he is in this. He's seen as a Messiah,
right? And his argument is he the Messiah? Yeah.
right? But towards the end of Herbert's books, he is Jesus, like healing and walking on water, like that kind of stuff. Like, um, but yeah, I mean, too, it's one of the situations of that this movie tries to portray that like I don't know. I hate this trope because it just becomes an easy trope and a lot of movies have done it lately of you know outside invaders come in and then the locals that are like you know very behind in technology
Hmm.
have to fend for themselves, but it's only through the help of an outsider. And obviously, like Frank Herbert didn't invent that with the first Dune book. That's a story that's been passed down forever.
Right.
But it's just like there's so many projects out right now that basically ape the same thing. And the fact that I didn't feel that way coming out of the Dune movies.
The Dune movie, it totally is like a in its broad sense, stories that have been told before. But yeah, it's not at no point did it feel like I've seen this before
And
in
I
that way.
think I think the part that helps is Paul doesn't want to be the Messiah.
Hmm.
But then as soon as he realizes that he is the Messiah, that power trip just takes over him.
Yeah,
And
it's such a
I saw
so
somebody
it's
call it
so
a feel bad movie, which is exactly what it is, right? Like you end up
it's
feeling bad for the Fremen. Like
it's episode5. Like with the end of the day, like at the end of the day, like this is
it,
totally that like mid of hopefully a trilogy that is the dark period in a lot of ways, but in the weird way, it's like gonna be objective. Dune doesn't get lighter.
no.
This is the light stuff of Dune too. Like this is gonna be because interesting. But I wanna touch base on that. We're talking about like this being this type of film. Like at one point, just to clarify, this is a film we're talking about. There is a telepathic baby that turns out like at one point we get to see, and it turns to be Anna Taylor-Joy. Like, like the
Yeah.
idea that like, and like I want to put on another thing. That's another scene that like somehow makes sense in the context of this film,
Yeah, that
which is wild.
The Namibian beach scene that you're talking about perfectly encapsulates that conversation that Paul ends up having with um, Zendaya's character,
Hmm.
where he sees the sand leading to oceans of green. And, Namibia is one of those countries where the dune is literally right next to the ocean and it's very tall. So that scene just sets such a great example of without having to do CG work, which the CG work that is in this movie, like the laser weapons taking down the spice
Hmm.
harvesters, they make it look real.
Also, I wanted to shout that out too. The thing I noticed in this film is I don't know if you noticed because we were talking about specific because we know the Borderlands poster make fun of because there was no shadows in it. This film, on those desert scenes, you can tell were filmed in a desert. Otherwise, they hand put in those shadows to a comical effect. So either way, it's like the editing and shooting of this film like shook me to death. Like especially modern films, where it is so much like here's the 360 green screen go. Like you just kind of tell some of this was like shot actually at spots.
Yeah, I mean, they shot it in Jordan. They shot it in Namibia. They shot it in, I think, there was one other, Saudi Arabia or something like that. Um, I know they shot in Turkey. Like going back to the shot that I'm talking of, where they use the laser weapons to bring down the spice harvesters.
That's so cool. Like
The
when
lasers have like material interaction. You see that like the beam first hits the balloon, and then burns its way through the balloon, and then has to catch the other side and burn its way through the other side.
Yeah, when it went all the way through, was that other? I was like, "What the hell?" Like,
Yeah.
I expected it not. Like, I expected like to go partially. You hit it, you cause an explosion, you call it a day. Like that's what I was expecting. Versus
Yeah.
it being this all the way through as we cut it up, as you see it like fall. Like it's like, yeah, I don't want. Also, we're saying all this with this film. Like this film having an objectively better budget than last one, but like these aren't high budget films in modern days. Like this was 190 million box office, which is a real
Yeah.
budget. But like the last one wasn't it like 95 million or some nonsense. Like it was a comic low budget.
Yeah.
Like
Um, but I mean, Denis has shown that he can stretch the dollar pretty fucking far. So giving him a small budget, I don't think really matters. Um, but also, like we're talking about this, and then they just drop the ultimate hammer of, oh, the Atreides have 90 nukes on
that is the great.
Arrakis.
We're good. Tell me it's not the great like That's a great like moment when all of a sudden he's like, I have the nuclear arsenal. I went, huh? In my head immediately in this one I went, there are nukes.
Well, not only are there nukes, but nobody else has nukes.
No, they all have nukes, but they're the ones who brought it to this world, which is what I found interesting. Why are the Harkonnen not bringing it to this world? They're nukes also.
I don't think the Harkonnens have nukes.
But he said every family has nukes.
No, he said the Atreides house gathered all of the nuclear arsenal. They were entrusted with the arsenal.
I heard it as each house got an arsenal.
So no, Atreides oversaw the arsenal. So it's just like, hey, neighbor, let's all gather our nukes, and you're gonna watch over them. So nobody else has nukes. Why does nobody else have nukes?
Yeah.
Like, why? The Harkonnens clearly are up to shit. You're telling me Baron Harkonnen didn't have, like, the ability to make nukes under the radar? You know, like... Also, I genuinely thought during the...
And in the book, sorry, I pulled this up, by the way. In the books, at least all the families have there. I can't tell in this movie if that was true. In the books, every family has nukes.
Yeah. Yes, that's... Book-wise, yes, but in the movie they say the Atreides family was entrusted to watch over the arsenal. Also, like... You know, they mention and they show that Lady Atreides is a Harkonnen.
Yeah, which means he's a... Yeah.
So when Paul has to use his genetic code to unlock the arsenal, his dad had to have known.
Why? Because he would start... Because the way I viewed it as, he just need to have, like code of like, any one of the ancestry would have it.
Well, no, because that's the whole thing about Josh Brolin's character. He says it's tied to your genetic code.
No, but I read it as, like, all of them would have... Like, all the Atreides would have this genetic code. Like, it's just, like, the Atreides bloodline is what it was. I don't think he, like, took his son specifically. I think it's any Atreides could have opened it.
Maybe,
Remember,
but
he's the final Atreides. So, like, that's part of this, too. Like...
Yes and no.
Okay, sure. On paper of alive, that we know of he's the final Atreides.
Yeah.
That isn't in a womb. Like,
Yeah. So yeah,
other people.
it does raise the question of like, did his dad know? And even though
But his
Lady
mom said she didn't know until
until
that she
she
got it.
took it, but I'm
Right.
like, the Bene Gesserit know who she is, so they knew she's a Harkonnen.
Right, no, the Bene Gesserit, no. That is true.
So
Like, at least the, whatever
I now
the
want to go
pseudonym is.
back and watch the first one and see if they hint any of the times that you see other Bene Gesserit members.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if they're hinting that Lady Atreides is not an Atreides. So
That is true. What was I gonna
because
say? The other one I
if
want to
they
shout.
do, that is the ultimate foreshadowing, and that's awesome.
Right. No, and also in general, like, having the shadow group that, like, so the thing with the Dune, which is I think very interesting, like, as a story, it's about knowing the end, and it's just about figuring out the journey. And I think also as a narrative conceit, that's really cool, especially like modern stories. It's almost funny because modern stories we complain that they're too like obvious what they're happening, but this film just goes, "We're showing you the ending, and now you just come with us for the ride."
Yeah.
And like that's such an interesting thing to me. But the one I want to shout out to though too, and I think it's someone that it's funny because I completely forgot he was in this, but I do think deserves to be shout out. And we kind of talked about it, or like me and you, is I forgot Christopher Walken was the Emperor, and when he came out, I was like, oh my god. But I gotta say, as much as he is the actor the most that you can't blend into a role because of who he is, I at least think he pulled it really well, and I think he actually made the Emperor somewhat of a scary person. Like it was like a okay, no, this is a
I
threatening,
read
but
it
also it's
more
someone who's
as a
supposed to be threatening
weak.
in isolation. But like he's threatening until he gets like he's threatening like in this isolation like he's the emperor. But the moment like think how easy he gets taken over, stopped.
I
Like they
read
get so he comes down and mystically 20 seconds later they're surrounded.
I read the when they showed that it's Christopher Walken, like, and that he was very frail. I read into that as, oh, like people don't know what the Emperor looks like, so
Oh, that's very true. I bet.
he's only threatening if you don't know who he is. And as soon as you see him, it's like, oh, this dude's like you know, a has been from 50 years ago. So that's how I read casting him. Um, Also, seeing Paul go up to the throne, that shot is gonna be so cool when
There
they
are
pull that off.
there's gonna be many shots in this film. I feel like you could just kind of frame a look like. You know,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
other person I do
that's
think we need to shout out though too before we get into it is Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem, I think, as Stilgar was like a perfect casting.
Lasel Al
Honestly.
Gaib. Drink every time he says Lasel Al Gaib. You'll be hammered before an hour's over.
Like
I
it
saw,
was such a good like every time something happened, he was like, "See, he's the chosen one."
yeah. See. But yeah, getting back to your point of being able to frame these shots, like that is what Villeneuve does best. Right? You go back to the first Sicario. There's so many landscape shots in that movie that you could frame. You know, it sucks that he's not doing it anymore, but every frame of painting would have a field day with the Dune movies. Because
God,
they're
it would just
so
be the whole.
beautiful.
It would be the whole film. Like honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's a few scenes where it's like, okay, you know.
No,
I
it's
guess
not perfect,
kinda
but like I do
cool,
think
but- yeah.
I think in modern, like in films last few years, I think this will come down as like definitely one of the best shot ones, pretty easily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sucks that this came out March 1st. So it'll get forgotten come award season next year.
But it definitely still like cinematography or editing. I think it should be kind of up
Yeah,
there.
but that's what I'm saying. Like this movie should take cinematography and nobody should just don't apply. Don't apply for the award. Just say like, "Yep, Denny, you and your DP, you got it." Like not even going to try. It's just not worth it. Because yeah, there's so many shots. I mean, even you think about like some of the shots that you don't really need, like Paul riding the biggest sandworm they've ever seen. There's shots while he's doing that it's like they clearly just strapped this dude onto a trailer and drove in the desert. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
not CG.
Like it might be something stepped on it, but yeah, it's not CG in that way we're thinking of it at all.
Like he's clearly going through the desert getting blasted by sand. Also, I just love that they're like, hey, we don't have vehicles, so we're gonna ride these fuck off large sandworms.
Would he summon the biggest one of all time? It's such a good like moment.
Yeah, which is odd. Like they don't. They call it the grandfather worm in the movie, but that's the only reference to it being big. It's never said that he got the biggest.
That was when they came back
It
to
wasn't
the
until
when they talked to his mom. That's when they commented about how it was the biggest.
it was
they'd
the
ever seen.
biggest one they had seen. It's not mentioned that it's the biggest one, which in the book I think it is the biggest sandworm
Yeah.
on Arrakis. But yeah, it's like everybody's like, oh, they clearly say that it's the biggest one ever. Like, no, they call it the grandfather one, and then they tell his mom that he rode the biggest one they've ever seen. So people are conflating stuff, which is fine, right? Like, that is cutting hairs on what it actually means, but it's still one of those situations where it's like, dude, you had such a cool instance of, as he's doing that, the comedy of everyone going, not that big, not that big. Knowing that, I mean, Bardem's character is the only one that knows what that word is. He's the only one that knows in the group, at least, that Paul has summoned the grandfather worm. Which makes me wonder, like, his group of nomads that he's with, do these guys have the worms named?
Yeah, this is.
Like,
Do they know them? Do they have like their
the
favorite?
grandfather worm? Like, do each of the worms have a specific rhythm?
I never thought of that. That's a
Like-
very interesting. Like, do they?
As they're saying that, I'm like, okay, like, so what's going on? You know?
Mm-hmm.
But
No, that's fair. But yeah, I think that's everything. I think we're both gonna say that everything. Go see this film in theaters. Go
Yeah.
make this break every record. We would like more of these. We would like there to be a Dune Messiah.
I mean, the script's
Also,
done,
we didn't
so,
show them.
yeah,
It's just a matter of if it's greenlit, which I'm assuming it's gonna be just a matter of when.
yeah.
Also, we didn't gently shut them off, but obviously, everyone we did shut on this film. I don't know of any of the main cast. I think there's a bad cast member in this film. I just want like it's just one of those for a collection of people this big and a film this big and let's be honest, very intense to explain. I don't think we could have got a better version of this because this if this was made 20 years ago, I'm scared what this film would look like. Point blank.
Yes. Yeah. There
Go
would
go check it
definitely
out.
be a fear.
So,
We will see everyone in the next one.
The SW Show and all of its affiliate podcasts are podcast by me, Mike Maroney, and AJ Losi, sometimes by our contributors, including Corey King. You can follow the SWW Show on social media at the SWW Show, or sooner or later you go to patreon.com/SWW to help us out. Thank you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day.